KKOB. ABQ Ride, I'm Bob Clark along with Brandon Vogt, Candy Cruz, 96.3 News Radio KKOB. And ABQ Ride, as we know, for the past year, a couple of different times having to cut some service due to a driver shortage. However, ABQ Ride is now launching a new so-called micro transit system later this month. It'll be known as ABQ Ride Connect. And joining us to talk about that and some other issues, Mike Davis, Deputy Director of ABQ Ride, and Megan Holcomb, who is the PIO for ABQ Ride. Megan and Mike, it's great to see you guys this morning. How you doing?
Great to be here, Bob.
All right.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, so let's start with ABQ Ride Connect. First off, what it's referred to as a micro transit, a new micro transit system. So tell us what that means and how it's going to work.
Right. So it'll be confined within two zones in the city, one in the Rio Grande, North Valley area, and one in Southwest Mesa. So it'll be bound by a few streets. So folks will be able to book on-demand rides within those zones, and little vans that hold up to 7 people will come and pick them up, take them to where they need to go. So it's a good connection if they need to get to fixed route services or a grocery store, things like that.
Okay. So we're talking about basically an appointment system, and we're not talking about using regular ABQ Ride buses in this new system.
That's correct. Yeah, these are smaller vehicles and they're booked on demand. So using an app on their phone, they'll be able to log in and see what vehicles are available, go ahead and select that vehicle, and then be able to go to where they want to go in that zone, whether it be to a fixed route bus or the grocery store, et cetera.
Okay, so why these two zones? Is this just the start, and perhaps it could expand later depending on how it goes? Why did you start with these two locations?
Yeah, so we've done studies in the past that show a mix of demographics. They don't currently have a whole lot of fixed route service just because the demand isn't there. So this is kind of filling those gaps, if you will, for that first and last mile of their full trip. So that's kind of why we chose these zones, but it can certainly expand in the future.
Okay. Mike, talk a little bit about why, because as we've noted, ABQ Ride did peel back on some services over the past year because of a driver shortage. So when you're talking about expanding now, why go with, what are the advantages of going with a micro transit system at this point?
Yeah, so this new service will be limited in hours. So it'll run 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. And it will only run Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. And it really requires minimal staffing to have this new service out there, but it really provides this essential service to individuals that have to walk several miles to get to a fixed route bus or wait a long time for the bus to come. So it really fills that gap and gives people many more options than what they have today.
All right, Mike Davis and Megan Holcomb from ABQ Ride with us here on News Radio KKOB. So basically what this is it's very similar to the Sun Van, right?
It is
where people would make appointments, and that mainly has always been used for people who have disabilities and things like that and need special transportation services. So you're just basically taking that model and now opening it up to everybody, at least in these two zones to start with.
Right, but they won't have to apply for this service. It's all through an app, so it's a little bit easier to use. Folks can use their smartphones. They can also call, but we're really pushing for the app.
All right, so tell people how they can get a hold of that app and download it.
Yeah, so it's ABQ Ride Connect. It's downloaded through your app store. It's free. You just create an account, and then you're really good to go. It's pretty simple.
And then for people who do choose to call, what number are they supposed to call? The main ABQ Ride number?
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Main ABQ Ride number.
Very good. This service launches when? March
18th.
March 18th. So coming up 2 weeks from today. All right. Well, let's talk about some of the other issues here, and let's start with that. As we were noting, ABQ Ride's been dealing with a driver shortage and also mechanics, and you've been going through some hiring fairs and job fairs and things like that. Kind of give us a sense of where ABQ Ride is right now in terms of filling those open vacancies.
Yeah. So I think we're at about a 34% vacancy rate. We've had 3 job fairs in the last 6 months. They've been super successful. The last 2 are in 2023. We've had up to 72 applicants and job hires. Mm-hmm. This next one, we had 50 a little over 50. So those folks are making their way through the hiring process right now. I'm not sure exactly what our numbers look like right now, but it is certainly getting better. So we're hopeful in the future that we'll be able to bring some service back, but they do need to make it through training and all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we know one of the issues that certainly ABQ Ride's been dealing with, and just security issues overall. But let's start with the drivers. And I know there have been some changes made to the buses to help provide much better protection now for the drivers. Talk about what you've done and how that's been working so far.
That's right. We've been retrofitting the buses in the driver areas so that they have a protective barrier between them and the public. And that's been super helpful. Drivers have very much appreciated having that extra safety measure. We've been having security meetings weekly as well to coordinate security and coordinating among several different security entities. And we have a great video system as well that is making our bus system more secure.
All right. So under this scenario, since the driver now is completely sealed off, so give us if a scenario does arise where someone needs to be kicked off the bus, how does that process work now? Who do the drivers contact, and how do they get these people removed from the bus?
Thank you. Yeah, we have a new passenger removal policy, and what happens is the driver basically notifies dispatch, and then security will meet up with the bus at a future stop and help remove that passenger from the bus. So we have minimal disruption to our services that way, and it's out of the hands of the driver, so a security person can be handling that.
So the driver, under any circumstance, just doesn't have to come out from behind that plexiglass, right?
There are certain circumstances where there's an immediate need
Sure.
to address issues, and so during those times, yes, they'll need to come out from behind that barrier. But for most issues, they'll be able to have security meet up with them and help with that.
Okay, now I know the report that was commissioned by the city council basically came back and said, in terms of security issues overall, especially for passengers, there are more problems at the bus stations than there are necessarily actually on the bus during the ride. So what has the city been doing to deal with those issues at the bus stations as well?
Yeah, so we've been doing a lot of things to make our bus stops safer, and including keeping them very clean, repainting, removing shelters that are an eyesore, and along with that, having security go to different platforms. And we have security cameras as well at platforms that help us observe things that are going on and be able to dispatch needs to those platforms.
All right, very good. Mike and Megan, hold on with us here. I got to take a quick check of traffic and weather together every 10 minutes, and then we'll come back and talk about the latest ridership numbers as well. But right now, here's Candy Cruz. It's 8:19. We continue now with Mike Davis, also Megan Holcomb from ABQ Ride. The new micro transit system called ABQ Ride Connect, launching 2 weeks from today. And before we let you go, we'll give you another opportunity to remind people about the app and how they can get more information on ABQ Connect. But before we do that, the latest ridership numbers just released for 2023. And while ABQ Ride, in terms of ridership, is still way down from the pre-pandemic years of 2019, you are starting to see an increase in ridership, sort of, I guess, post-pandemic might be a good way to put it, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. We're actually we're halfway through this fiscal year now, and we've actually surpassed fiscal year 2021, which is when COVID started. So we are slowly seeing those numbers rise back up. One really positive is ART actually hit its highest ridership year in fiscal year 2023. So it did start late in 2019, so right before the pandemic started, but it has steadily grown since then. So we're really excited to see those numbers.
And of course, we do know it's been zero fares for a couple of years now, but that the city council did vote to make that permanent. Mike, what kind of impact do you think that's having?
Yeah, absolutely. We're having the effects of that show up in our ridership, to have continual increases in ridership this year over last year. And we're seeing stronger ridership in our Sunvan paratransit system as well. So that system is free as well.
And circling back, if I can, real quickly, to driver safety behind the plexiglass. But I believe I did see a story where some of the drivers are noting that, since it is zero fare, they don't have nearly as many people congregating up toward the front of the bus, when they're walking on in the area where they would pay. And they think that that's made a difference too.
Yeah, not charging a fare really prevents or eliminates those conflicts that we used to have at the fare box of not paying enough, those type of things. So those conflicts have all gone away and made that much easier.
Okay, before we let you go, Megan and Mike, tell everyone again where they can get more information on ABQ Ride Connect.
Yeah, so we actually have a website, ABQ Ride Connect. If you go to the city's website, go to transit, all the information is there. Folks can download the app, I think starting now. So if you want to go ahead and make your account there, so you're ready to go when it launches on March 18th. So
Okay.
2 weeks from now.
And the first two zones will start, known as West Old Town and also the North Valley Zone as well. Mike Davis, Deputy Director of ABQ Ride, Megan Holcomb, the PIO. Thank you both for being here today. We do appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, it's 8:22 here on 96.3 News Radio KKOB.